Game collecting, whether it be in pristine condition or whether it has a little bit of wear and tear. We're all a little bit different when it comes to collecting, and that's what I want to talk about today. The different types of collectors, the different types of games you can collect, and the reasons behind that. So let's get into it. We all have nostalgia for certain video games, and of course video game stores is no exception, whether it be movie gallery, Blockbuster, or Hollywood Video. I'm one of those people that's in the middle for collecting. I like pristine, but I don't also mind a little bit of wear and tear. And what we're going to talk about first is nostalgia. Now, I have a very soft spot in my heart for some rental places that I used to procure back in the day, like Blockbuster, Movie Gallery, all that. And there was one game that I kept forgetting to buy. I'm like, why do I keep forgetting that one? And so when I saw it in this case, I had to pick it up. And this is for nostalgia's sake. And that is Razor Racing for the PS1. Sure, it's not really an expensive title, and I think it's cool to actually kind of, remember the memory of Blockbuster because there's only one left, and that's in Oregon, and I'm never gonna fucking go there probably, who knows? So, a little piece of history. Now, whenever I collect a certain type of thing, I like to preserve that, and I like to have that as part of my collection. I have several games that have, stripping from, the rental company. Even my copy of Tomba has, the Hollywood Video strip on it, and that's okay. That's fine with me. I don't mind that because, you have to think about it for a second. Tomba is a very expensive game. And so, I'm not going to go out there and try to get another copy of it just to replace that because of that little bit of imperfection. And I think it's actually a cool thing to have that kind of thing. Like I said, I'm in the middle when it comes to collecting. Now for this, I just wanted to add it to my collection because again, I miss Blockbuster. I miss going in there, looking around, seeing all the games that I can rent, movies, for 5 days, for $1 a night. It was such a nostalgic time, and just to have this piece of history in my collection is fantastic, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Reproduction cases. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why not the OG case? Well, there's a lot of reasons behind why I actually opted to get some reproduction cases for my games. Now, a lot of people like to shy away from reproduction because they're all about the OG. Well, over time, I've learned, as far as collecting in the last couple of years, I realized how expensive stuff can be and how hard it is just to find an actual case without the game again. Speaking of, we'll take an example here, Xenogears. Xenogears is a very expensive game. It can range from $150 to $200 depending on if you get the greatest hits or if you get the black label. Last year, I was lucky enough to score this in a binder for 20 bucks, dude. I'm like, it was loose. So I looked for, a case for it, but sadly I could never find one just with the case and manual. So what did I do? I finally opted to get a reproduction case. I used to be like a lot of people. I used to be like, no, OG or bust, no reproduction. But like I said, I've learned over time how expensive games are and how silly it is, just not to have something like this to protect your game. Yeah, sure, you could put it in a case holder, which that was where it was at until I got this, but I want to display my games. I want them on the shelf. And I mean, I don't collect just to collect, to be like, oh, how pretty. I actually collect and I like to play games. Now, I've played Xenogears before, so I don't intend on playing that anytime soon. Great game, by the way. But whenever it came to, showing my collection off, I wanted it on the shelf and not in that binder. That binder is only a temporary placeholder for my games until I can find a case for it. Now, you'll notice that this actually does not have the manual because, of course, it's a reproduction, but it's a very good reproduction case. And I'm happy that I got this to hold my game because now I can display it on the shelf properly. Now, this is not the only reproduction case that I bought. There's another instance for that. Remember how I mentioned Tomba before? Well, Tomba's whoa, don't stick to me. We'll get to that one in just a second. That's not Tomba. I've had this loose for the longest time. I don't know what happened to my original case. I don't know. But I finally opted to get a reproduction case for this because, again, Tomba is not a cheap title. So therefore, I wanted to display it and get it out of that binder, so I opted for that. Now, I did mention that it has Hollywood Video on there, and like I said, that's nostalgia for me, and I don't mind having that on the disc. It's playable, it's enjoyable, and it's in my collection. I couldn't be more happier to finally get to display this again and not have it loose in the binder. Now, the last part about reproduction cases that I want to talk about is trying to actually get one to, fill the case itself. What do I mean by that? Well, take my copy of Siphon Filter. This is a reproduction case that I bought. But the reason why I bought this one is because it was missing the back cover art. I can't tell you how hard it is just to find that and, you know, just like, okay, or just rebuy the game again. Like I said, it's better just to buy a reproduction case whenever you have the loose disc versus, you know, going around and buying the game again, because it just doesn't make any sense. So I bought the reproduction case. This is what came in it. This is like the front. That's what it looks like. And then of course I had the original manual. So naturally, I put the original manual in here with the game, and it's good as gold, and it goes on the shelf. So that's another instances to whenever I actually replace cases, if it's missing the back art, if it, you know, doesn't have the manual or whatever, you know, I'm gonna get a reproduction case for some things. There is one game that I've not done that for, and that's Tomba 2. I bought Tomba 2 without the manual because I got it for, I think, about 75 bucks. It was a hell of a deal. It came in the original case, and it had the disc, and it's in great shape, but no manual. I'm still looking for the manual. If you see one, let me know. When it comes to buying games online from specific companies, whether it be Lukey Games, DK Oldies, of course I'm gonna expect a premium from that company, especially if there's gonna be a little bit more of a price increase with some games. Now, I want to note this. Whenever I buy games, I do actually check pricing to see what it's going for in price charting. And then I'll weigh the pros and cons. I'm like, is it cheaper on eBay? Is it gonna be in better condition here? And of course, there's shipping involved. I weigh all that out before I actually make my purchase from companies such as Lukey Games, DK Oldies, whatever the case. Even retro game stores I do that with. So I try to make the most for my money. I just wanted to make that, you know, clear with everybody before I get into this. Now, because funny enough, I have an example here of, you know, pricing. Like, for example, I just bought Lollipop Chainsaw again for my collection. About 10 years ago, this game was about $16.19 for pro members, and now I paid about $47.49 for the new sticker price, as you can see from the price comparison. That's a definite shift in pricing. As I said before, game pricing has went up, down over the years. It just depends on what you're getting and what the title is, but still, I try to get the most for my money. But we'll talk about game pricing another day. That's a whole other video in itself. Now, pristine condition. For example, Doom. Doom is a fabulous game. I love the Doom series. This is one that I got from DK Oldies, and this game is mint. You can see the shine on this. It is that minty. And I've been buying from DK Oldies for over 2 years, and everything that I've gotten has been as expected, in great condition. Everything works fabulous. And I don't just buy disc-based games. People always think that I just buy PS1. No, I bought stuff for Dreamcast, N64, Atari, across the board. Every single system pretty much I bought from DK Oldies, but I mainly focus on PS1 because that's what I'm mainly going for, a complete setup, so I gotta have my games. There's a lot in there. But, you know, as far as this goes, this game was about 80 bucks, which is what it's going for normally, you know, whenever I did price checking and everything. So I got a really great deal on this. Now, this is what I'm looking for whenever I buy from a company online and not from eBay or from a third-party site like Mercari or anything like that. Now, another site that I buy from that I've had a roller coaster with is Lukey Games. And one title that I bought that I was pretty annoyed with was Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase. Now, why am I annoyed with this? It looks great. Yes, it's in good condition. I mean, it's in pristine shape, you know, with the disc and everything like that. That's not the problem. The problem that I have with Lukey Games is that whenever you buy something from them, you don't ever know what you're going to get unless it's listed under, like, greatest hits, or, you know, it's actually listed under Black Label. I've reached out to them before about this, and I've talked about this many, many times. This, for example, this is not listed under Black Label or greatest hits. It's just listed under Black Label technically, and they don't have a separate listing for greatest hits, which they should do, but they don't do that for everything. The only thing that they do that for is if the game is basically a higher price. For example, Chrono Cross, it's more expensive than this game is. So pretty much whenever you buy from them, if it's not listed separately, you're gonna get what you're gonna get from what they told me. And whenever I'm paying for something from a company, you know, that I expect a premium from, I want the fucking product that I pay for, not the greatest hits. So I've kind of learned to just deal with it with them because I still need stuff, and they have a lot of games that I don't see, you know, from other sites, you know, besides eBay. And like I said, you know, trying to save money is one thing that collectors do, and shipping does amount to a lot, whether it be $4, $5, $6, depends on who's selling it. So that can add up fast. So with them, you know, you pay like $25 and you get free shipping. So I normally do that every month. Every month I buy from Lukey and from DK. DK's actually got a better shipping deal. You can get like, for 10 bucks, you can get free shipping. With Lukey, you have to spend more to get free shipping. I am by no means a sealed games collector, but if they happen to cross my path, of course I'm gonna add it to my collection. And one of them that I have is my Disney Kitchen. This was actually gifted to me by a good friend of mine. Now, as far as my collection goes, I only have 2 sealed games for PlayStation 1, Tomb Raider 3, and then this one. I actually have an open copy of this one already, so I don't need to open this one. But if I wanted to, I will. I'm not one of those collectors that actually, you know, just lets it sit there. I'm gonna enjoy my games, and if I don't have an extra copy of it, I'm gonna damn well open it no matter how much it's worth. If it's worth a lot more sealed, I don't care. My goal for whenever I collect games is to collect them to enjoy them, not just to fucking shelve them. I talked about games having wear and tear, and there's several games in my collection that have seen better days, but at least they have a good home with me, and they'll be enjoyed, they'll be collected, and they'll be played at some point, because even though I, you know, don't really like sports titles, I do aim to play them at some point, because as I said, time and time again, I don't just collect, I play the stuff. And my goal is to actually play every single PS1 game that I own. That's a huge, vast undertaking. Speaking of sports titles, we have Tiger Woods 99 PGA Tour Golf. Now, you'll notice that there's a little bit of damage up top. Yeah, there is. The case is not in the best shape, but the game is still playable. So if I ever want to pop it in and play it, it's good to go. And you know, that's another thing that brings me to a point. You know, if games have scratches on them, if you buy them like that, they can be resurfaced. That's what resurfacing's for. I mean, it doesn't cost a lot. For example, I bought Budokai Tenkaichi 3, you know, for 10 bucks at Goodwill, and everyone's like, it's not gonna play, it's not gonna play. Well, it does play. And you know what? I bought a reproduction case for that too. I think that was the first time I ever bought a reproduction case for a PS2 game, because, dude, when I looked online about I did find the case and manual only for that. You know how much the case was? It was like $90. I'm like, I'm not shitting gold bricks. And the manual was like 50. For the reproduction case for now, until I find a better deal, because I can't justify paying that much for a damn case and manual. I can think of like several games. I could buy multiple games with that amount of money. See, that's what I think. Logic of a collector. Anyway, back to condition. So I got this for about $2, which is a hell of a deal. I think I got this at Gaming Co. I pretty much bought everything under $5 from that game store at this point. Now I need to buy everything under $10. I'll probably do that the next time I go up there. That should be a good challenge. So like I said, condition doesn't bother me too much. Yeah, this is a lower budget title. Even with higher budget titles, you know, sometimes condition doesn't bother me. As long as it's playable and enjoyable, I can always replace the case, you know, get a different manual. Things are replaceable if you want to pretty much, you know, upgrade, as some collectors call it, your game that you have. Now, another thing about condition, I want to talk about eBay for a second. Now, whenever you shop on eBay, looks can be deceiving. Pictures are not always what they seem, and this is one fine example. Now, I avoided eBay for many, many years because of all the shitstorms I had to deal with, but I finally started to give it a chance. Yes, there were a few bumps in the road, but I've mostly bought demos. I have bought a few games on there, you know, for the collection, like one PS1 game, I think it was like a pinball game, and then I actually scored Persona 3 FES, which is coming soon. I'll definitely show that off when I get it. So I've actually started diving into buying actual titles, not just demos, because I bought a ton of demos, because there's a lot for PS1. But anyway, this is one of those, Interactive Sampler 7. When I got this, I knew that it was going to already be kind of, you know, wear and tear a little bit with the outside. I mean, it's a demo, come on. But the disc picture looked mint. And when I got this is fine. This side is not. The disc is scratched all to hell, and it will not play correctly. Like, it will freeze. And I know, I think I only paid, I don't even know how much I paid for this, like maybe $5 or $6. Yeah, that's not a lot. But when you're paying for a demo and you have to pay shipping, and shipping could be like $5, that's like 11 bucks that I spent on this. And literally, it was not what it seemed. And that's what annoyed me about this. If you're gonna sell something, at least display it properly and don't make people think that it's in pristine condition, especially for collectors like myself. And like I said, resurfacing is a thing, and that's why I didn't get really upset with it. But the false advertisement is what I really did not like about this purchase that I made. So beware if you're buying online from eBay. Nostalgia, reproduction, and pristine. all things that encompass me as a collector. I want to know from you, what kind of collector are you? Are you more on the pristine side? Do you like a little bit of wear and tear? Are you in the middle like me? Definitely let me know in the comments, but that's all the time that I have for you, my friends. I hope you enjoyed the video, but until next time, this is the PlayStation Girl signing out. Game on!